Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News. As we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches, the BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, greetings, Boise State fans, and welcome on into Falcon Stadium. What a view here at the Air Force Academy. This is the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Bronco Nation News, Idaho Central Credit Union getting us on the road. And we bring into the special box that got set up for us here. And we got Rich Waltz. He'll be on the play-by-play for CBS Sports Network today. And Rich, you were the very first guest on our very first pregame show back on December 1st or November 30th, whatever it was, for the Boise State-St. Louis basketball game. And anytime I ask you to come on, you always do. We really appreciate it. How's it going?
You've come a long way, BJ. I mean, just the equipment, the lights. You actually have someone running the show here. You have mic flags now. It's impressive. No, I'm good. This is going to be a really good game. I'm really excited about this game. Air Force, I've seen a couple times. I have Boise State probably at their lowest point, which was the UTEP game. They've obviously improved. The bye week certainly helps as well. So I think it's going to be a fun game.
I've gone the wrong way. I've probably put on about 20 pounds since I last saw you. So I gotta get back in my mid-season shape here. But you're going to be on the call at 5 o'clock Mountain Time here with your normal crew with Aaron Taylor and company. And so what do you got your sheet here, your notes. What are some of the main storylines you guys are looking at when folks flip over to CBS Sports Network here in about an hour and a half?
Well, the obvious one is the offense-defense on both sides of the ball. Air Force's offense is the best in the country at running the football. Boise State's defense is one of the best at defending the run in the nation. So that's a really fun matchup there. On flip side, too, Air Force's defense, I think, is underrated. They're really good. They have their linebacker safeties are really terrific. They fly around. They're very athletic. They make a lot of plays. And the Broncos have run for, I think it's 316 yards a game the last two games in a totally different offense than they started the season with. So those are I think the storylines. And the big picture, obviously, is Boise State in the driver's seat right now if they win this game to get to the Mountain West Championship game. Air Force still has a chance. Air Force wins this game. They're going to need help from either Wyoming or Nevada or Utah State, actually, at the end. If they're going to get there. So there's a lot on the line. And as a broadcaster, that's all you can ask for. Is the game meaningful? And then the next thing you hope for is the game close. So
now you were on the call for the low point for this season. I mean, the UTEP game, you were there with us in El Paso, and we watched in person almost in disbelief at what we were seeing. A Boise State team score 10 points, lose as a 16-point favorite, one of the worst offensive games in the history of the program. Didn't get to 100 yards passing or rushing for the first time since like the 90s. I mean, no one knew what was going on. Obviously, Tim Plow gets fired the next day, relieved of his duties, whatever you want to call it. Dirk Cutter comes in. You mentioned then, Talon Green comes in after Hank Bachmeier transfer. So it's a totally different team than what you saw in that UTEP game. But 2 wins, obviously. I mean, you just think back to what you saw then to what you see and how you feel about this team. I mean, it's a 180 here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I remember calling the UTEP game and thinking to myself, the personnel that Boise State has doesn't match their offense, doesn't match what Tim Plow is really good at. And even for Hank Bachmeier doesn't match that. It just seemed like after the changes were made, after Hank stepped out, after Tim was let go, Dirk comes in, and they've changed the whole offensive philosophy. This is Pound. It's an offensive line that looks better going forward than it does going backwards and pass protecting. Green getting on the outside and making plays is big for them. The question is going to be, is there going to be a game along the lines where Taylon's going to have to win a game from the pocket? And look, he's working with a really good offensive coordinator, Dirk Cutter. Boise fans know him, obviously. Great history there, great history in the NFL, knows his quarterbacks. They're getting better incrementally, just watching Green on tape and talking to people who've seen him and faced him. So, I mean, everything's trending in the right direction. And I think that jolts to the program, talking to Spencer Danielson and others, it woke everybody up. You can put a finger on a couple people and say they were the problem. They weren't the problem. They weren't solely the problem. It was an entire organization. And even Andy Avalos said that in our call this week. He said, look, we needed to get jolted and go back to who we were. And they've simplified things, especially offensively. Danielson talked about defense and making sure they do the little things defensively, right? And you could just see that all of a sudden, hey, this is a fundamentally different team than it was. And fundamentals will get you a long way. And they've got momentum. I'm really interested to see how they react, especially in the first quarter. Air Force is notoriously a team that starts quickly. I think the game up in Boise last year, they scored on the first three drives. I think they scored touchdowns. And was it 24-17 was the final. Yeah. So, and Boise State's well aware of that. That's a top of the list for Boise State is start fast themselves and prevent Air Force from really rolling in that first quarter. You
mentioned kind of the implications here. An Air Force loss pretty much eliminates them. Boise State, as bad as it was, they're still sitting there at 3-0 in the division. And you win this one, you probably are going to be able to afford to slip up somewhere else. I mean, Wyoming or Utah State playing today, one of them is going to have a second loss. And so we'll see what happens. But Boise State, I mean, they're clearly in the driver's seat if they win today, right?
Without question. And that's, it's funny. The game I had last week, during the game, we threw up the standings in the Mountain West. And when I was looking at the standings, I didn't say it on the air, but I thought to myself, Boise State's not 4-2 and 3-0. They can't be. I saw them at UTEP and they looked awful. And are they really 3? And that's like when we went to commercial, I had to go onto my iPad. And it's like, they are. How did I miss that? It just didn't feel like a 3-0 team. And obviously I didn't see the San Diego State or the Fresno State game live. I did watch some of it on tape. And that's where you want to be. Obviously, you can't do anything about the Oregon State game. You can't do anything about the UTEP game. But what you can do is you can win your division and you can win the championship game and go to a bowl game and win that game. And then you'll turn around and look at the season and say, hey, we had a really good year. Look, we've won 9 of our last 10 or whatever it is.
Well, you got fans in Boise still not totally giving up hope of the Group of 5 bid to the Cotton Bowl.
That's really possible too, because it
sounds asinine to think about when they were 2-2 and they were terrible to say they actually have a small chance and there is some sort of path. I mean, if they win the Mountain West, they're only competing with 4 other teams. You have to be the conference champion. But I mean, that's the sports talk radio and my shows. I mean, they're not giving up hope yet. There is actually a path. As bad as it was, that if they run the table here and they're 11-2, they might have as good a shot as anybody. It's crazy.
So can we swear on this show? I mean,
we can actually. We can do whatever you want. Yeah,
it's like I know we're not on. I didn't know that.
This is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, social media. I don't think there's too many rules on this, but I don't want to get you in a bad habit before you go over to the big booth. But
no, you don't do that at all.
Their path is crazy.
You're right, but their path is in front of them, and that's all you want. And they've recalibrated. They have all the momentum in the world. And if they keep getting better, if Green, like Dirk Cutter said this week, incrementally is getting better and better with each snap, with each rep in practice, then you get to where you were talking about. You get to the championship game. You win that. Your ranking is going to go up. And the computers are going to like you because you're winning and you're winning big and you're hot. And then maybe you do fall into that group of 5, New Year's 6.
Well, final question, and we'll let you get back to the booth. But just broadcasting, I mean, it's a beautiful day at the Air Force Academy. I know you've been here a number of times. They have the parachuters that come in. They have the running of the cadets. I mean, it's for anyone that's never been here. I mean, this is something special, isn't it?
It is. It's a really cool setting. And one of the things that working for CBS and for CBS Sportsnet, I get to do some military games, and the Navy game here a couple weeks ago was just incredible. I get the Army Air Force game in Dallas in the Rangers ballpark on CBS in a couple weeks. But you're right about that. If you haven't experienced an Academy game, I have not done a game at Army. I have heard that that's just an incredible Mikey Stadium and the water and the whole thing. Here it's awesome. I mean, you're not going to get better jumpers out of the plane and paratroopers coming in than Air Force, right? I mean, they're the best at it. So they do it right. And the cadets and the push-ups and the whole thing. And they play really well here. They play much better. Their 2 losses have been disappointing on the road. So I think Boise State's got their hands full. Air Force got their hands full. It's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I think I was looking it up this week. They're like 70-23 or something at home under Troy Calhoun. I mean, and I don't know if you heard Troy Calhoun this week, but if you heard him talking about Boise State, he would have thought you'd think they had no chance. That Air Force would have no chance today with all the nice things he said. But we appreciate it. We'll get over there and get ready for the game. But every time I ask, you always say yes, and we really appreciate it. And we'll. I'm always disappointed because I'm at the games, but I'll go back and watch the call on TV, tomorrow or something when I get back to Boise. But thanks a lot. Have a great call, and I know our fans appreciate you coming on.
Congratulations on it. I know the Cardinals aren't where you want them to be right now, but the Pujols thing was really fun to watch. And I know you're a St. Louis guy, and that really was some cool television. Hopefully next year they're in the World Series.
Hopefully so. So you got tonight, then you said you got a couple more games too. So you guys are going to be hearing Rich for the Nevada game, the Wyoming game, the Utah State game to finish out the season. So a lot of Rich Waltz down the stretch, which is a good thing because he's one of the best in the business, and we appreciate it, man.
I don't know if that's a true statement or not.
Well, I need to get you to come on again, so I got to butter you up a little bit, right?
Well, I'll see you in Reno.
Yes.
I'll see.
Pull a double dip. How about this real quick? Boise State basketball plays at 5:00. And one of my sponsors, this is a big humble brag, actually has a plane that can get down to Reno. So I'm going to try to do a basketball game and a football game in like a 4-hour span.
Well, look me up when you get to Reno. And hopefully you arrive safely.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good call. We appreciate it. There he is, Rich Waltz, play-by-play guy. He'll be on the call on CBS tonight. Collin, let's show some of the pregame atmosphere from today. Earlier, you make that full screen, Collin. Appreciate it, Rich. Boise State arriving a little while ago. You can see the weather, obviously. Beautiful day. Could not ask for a more perfect day. Just an unbelievably beautiful day today, weather-wise. Get those comments in. Get those questions in. We'll get to those in just a second. This is the Lithia Ford of Boise Bronco Nation News pregame show. We appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise. Make sure you check them out. Switching microphones here. We still got me, Collin? We all right? We're going to switch microphones since we don't have Rich on anymore. But we appreciate everybody again for checking us out today. This is a Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show presented by Idaho Central Credit Union. Here's a live look down at the field. You can see it's just an absolutely perfect day. And we want to hear from you guys here on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. We got a ton of comments to get to. Again, get your score predictions in. Let us know where you're watching from. We looks like you were in an interrogation room, BJ. No, we are not in an interrogation room. We are in a little special room here, which if you see, we can show Collin over here. There's Collin. Look at Collin Mitchell doing a great job for us. And then it goes straight out onto the field. So there's the field. There's Collin. And we may need to reset this up, Collin. I just screwed this up. Is that I don't know if we're on there. I don't want to fall off on us. But, yeah, they thank you to the Air Force Academy. They gave us a aim it up just a little bit. There we go. Air Force Academy gave us a booth here, and we're very appreciative of that. So thanks to them. And we're excited to be here. Beautiful day, as I said. Look at that view. Whoops, there we go. Perfect day. They're going to have the parachute team coming in. They're going to have the cadets, all that fun stuff. And we are very happy to be here at the Air Force Academy. Looks like Kay Foster's taking Boise State money line plus 127. Go ahead and get those comments in. We appreciate Rich Waltz for coming on. Dayton says, let's go. We got Go Broncos. Hello from Texas. Go Astros. Go Broncos. Appreciate you from watching from Texas. We'd love to get some shout-outs of where you're watching from. Hopefully you're having a Cutwater canned cocktail. This is the Cutwater Canned Cocktails studios on the road today here at the Air Force Academy. So hopefully you are partaking in a beverage or two as you get ready for this game. And if it's a Cutwater, send us a photo on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll try to see if we can hook you up with a pass. Kay Foster asking about a CBS Sports Network jinx. Hopefully not. Let's see here. Cody says, after a 2-week break, excited to see what the Broncos can do on offense, defense. Just have to play fundamental football and tackle. Go Boise State. We keep the comments rolling here. Josh is going 42-14. Wow, that would be quite the win today for Boise State if that ends up being the score. Kay Foster is right there with them. Kevin's got 41-17. That seems a little high for me. I expect this game to be much closer, but we'll see. I'm kind of feeling more of what Clint's feeling in the 24-20 range. To be honest with you, that probably seems a little more in the area that we want to be at. And we got, how about Liberty up 20 on BYU, 34-14. Collin just showed me the score. Liberty up on BYU. That is a pretty big upset there. Now, I don't think this is true. He says we're never going to lose again. I mean, at some point you're going to lose again, right? Maybe not this season, but I don't know if you can literally win every game the rest of the season. We'll see. Cody is saying golly. I hope you guys enjoy that. We actually got the golly guy in the intro now. JR saying go Broncos. We got Kurt Blake chiming in. It's my birthday, the one game I don't root for anyone. He's a 5-year Air Force veteran, BSU fan since 1969. Well, Kurt, thank you for your service. And, yeah, you're not going to lose the game today. You're guaranteed a winner on either side, Kurt. So thank you again for your service. Heck of a track record, Kurt. Doesn't root for anyone. I get it. I get it. Is Ben starting today on the O-line? I do not think so, no. Based on what I've heard, what I've been told, Ben Dooley likely out for this game here for Boise State. By the way, it looks like it's going to start with the base on the clock, like right at 5 o'clock. So it looks like 5 o'clock, 5:01. They're going to kick this thing off right away. So I don't know if there's a game before it or not, but hopefully not, because you guys are going to miss part of the game if you do. Any injury news? No. It's 75 minutes till kickoff. They usually give us the injury stuff about 45 minutes to kickoff. So no, do not have any injury news yet. Not sure who's going to be out, who's playing. We don't know all that yet, but I would expect Ben Dooley is probably out today. That's going to be at this point, I don't know if he plays again this season. I just don't know what's going on there. Why they keep him on the depth chart at this point, I have no idea. I thought maybe after the bye they would just rule him out. Andy Avalos said on Monday that, kind of hinted some guys might be back. He said, we're very close. We're getting close. But to this point, it doesn't look like, that's going to be the case. And we'll have to see who is back. Again, 45 minutes prior to kickoff. I'll have that on my Twitter account, the Bronco Nation News Twitter account. So make sure that's where you get that, because they will be off the air by the time they do that. Greg's got 38-20. Kareem is watching from Boulder, Colorado. Why didn't you just drive down? You're like 3 hours away. Come on. Could have made the trip and seen it in person, but appreciate you for checking it out. Go BSU. We got, how about Bill L. watching from Huntington Beach, California. Go Blue. We appreciate you, Bill, for watching from California. Let's see what else we got here. Bradley is watching from Boise. Cody says great view. He's got 42-21. Let's see here. 31-27 Broncos watching from Texas. That's I could see that score being pretty close. We got my wife checking in. Let's go Boise State. Appreciate you for watching, hun, but I believe you're at work, so get back to work. But we got Mark Gonzalez, 32-17. 32-17 is Mark. How about Rudy in the Denver airport looking for Tust? He's got 34-21. And, I was joking with Jay Tust because he did not book his own travel. A travel agency or somebody at his company did. And he's never been to the Air Force Academy before. And so he booked a flight from Denver to Denver, and then another flight from Denver to Colorado Springs, even though it's really not that much shorter when you go from the Colorado Springs airport, which is south of the town, back up to the academy. It's only an extra 20 or 30-minute drive from Denver, and yet you got to wait 2 or 3 hours for a layover. So I was giving Jay just a hard time to be funny. And as it turns out, on Sunday morning, he's flying from Colorado Springs to Denver, waiting for 3 hours, and then I'm getting on the same flight as him in Denver to go back to Boise. So, he didn't get the smart memo on the travel here. But we love Jay. He's doing a great job. And you can flip over at 4 o'clock when we finish up. Jay is going to be on KTVB.com, KTVB as well, with his pregame show down from the field. Assuming they were able to park. I don't even know if I see him over there yet. Do you see them setting up? Oh, I guess they are setting up over there in the corner. But the parking situation is not great here at Falcon Stadium. It's very hard to find a parking spot. There's a certain lot the media is supposed to get to, but it's hard to get there. And so, yeah, it took us a while, it took Jay a while, but we made it, and we're happy to be here. Vegas knows best, according to Josh. Jen saying, interesting that Boise State, Brett Rippon, both playing in Colorado. I actually tried to do the double dip. I actually tried to switch my flight and see if I could get a press credential at the last minute to go over to Denver and see Brett Rippon play. Too late to get a press credential. Apparently got denied by the Broncos on short notice once we found out today that Brett Rippon was starting. But that's really cool news. Awesome for Brett Rippon. Happy for him. And that'll be fun tomorrow afternoon to watch him make the start against the Jets, who I think was one of the teams he beat earlier when he started a game in the last couple of years as well. So congrats to Brett Rippon. Good luck to him, obviously. And, yeah, it is kind of cool. It's only an hour and a half away, and would have loved to have gone over there for that game, but was not able to make it over. I wanted to play a little bit. If you watched our morning show, you saw some of this. But Troy Calhoun, the Air Force coach, I mean, this guy could not have been more complimentary about Boise State. It really was incredible this week listening to Troy Calhoun, the Air Force coach, talk about Boise State. So please keep getting your comments in. Please keep getting your questions in. Please keep getting your score predictions in, your photo of you drinking your Cutwater canned cocktail. Please get all that good stuff in. I do want to hear from Troy Calhoun, the Air Force coach, just about how complimentary he was of Boise State. But I first want to tell you briefly about a couple of our great sponsors. The Blue and Orange Store, check them out, theblueandorangestore.com. They've got free shipping on any order over $40. Make sure you check out the Blue and Orange Store online or in person there at the Boise Town Square Mall. Transportation compliance service. If you're looking for a new job, how about becoming a truck driver? That big rig on the screen, you could be driving that, or the Amazon truck in your neighborhood. Any size truck, they can help you with all the permits and things you need, and they'll get you out there towing that first load in no time. Check them out, transcompservice.com. We appreciate Ridley's Family Markets. Shop ridleys.com. 13 locations across the state of Idaho. That CUNA location, the Rains family frequents often, so they got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff at Ridley's Family Markets. United Commercial Insurance. Check them out, unitedcommercialinsurance.com, 229-8222. They make business insurance easy. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country, so make sure you check out United Commercial Insurance. And, of course, Boise Dentistry Co. as well. My dentist, Dr. Chris Miner. Check him out. Locations across the Treasure Valley from Caldwell to Mountain Home, and he can take care of you. Full family dentistry, your kids, your grandparents, whoever. They make going to the dentist fun, and they can line you up back-to-back, get the whole family done, and then you won't see them for 6 months. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. There's a live look, Falcon Stadium. Again, a perfect, beautiful day. The crowd's starting to file in. We can see the cadets and folks meeting and tailgating out in the parking lot. It's looking like it's just going to be an unbelievable day for football, and we appreciate you for joining us here on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show at Bronco Nation News. Hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, you subscribe on YouTube. A quick reminder before we play Troy Calhoun, just subscribe on YouTube. If you are already watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We'd love to have you join the channel. We're trying to build the YouTube channel, and we appreciate those of you that have already done it. So, okay, Troy Calhoun, the Air Force coach, spoke to the media, and this is part of what he had to say. Troy Calhoun speaking with the media.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look golly, I mean, the quarterback is – no two players are ever exactly the same, but truly the resemblances to Vince Young. Yeah, you got a guy that's 6'5 plus, it's 215 pounds. It's a incredible talent. And ever since he's gone in there, they've been a completely different team. And I think every one of their conference games they've won by 3 touchdowns. I was thinking, if they're just different than everybody else in this league, and it's a little bit like in the old Big 7 or Big 8, the Crimson team. What'd they win when Bud Wilkins won they had to go 78 games until they ever lost a game. I mean, they could go on one of those runs within this league just because they're if they were in a Power 5, they'd more than hold their own, and they deserve to be in a Power 5 league when you look at just the amount that's invested. But I think certainly at quarterback, he's something else. And to have 2 great, not good, but great running backs, and Giante and Halani. And then defensively, I don't want to overstep, but they're out of this world. They really are. You look defensively, I think they're number 2 in the country in total defense. They only give up 4.1 a play. Third down, I think they give up it's like 28%. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It really is when you look in, and yet it's not a surprise again, just because they operate at a different level.
There he is, Troy Calhoun, and obviously nice guy, great guy. Was very complimentary at Boise State, but was it for show? Was it kind of to make Boise State, feel good about themselves, or what? Does he not think they actually have a chance today? We'll have to wait and see, because that was quite the endorsement. And I got 2 other clips that we could play. I mean, he went on for his 15-minute press conference, and I would say 12 minutes of it was about how impressive Boise State is. And he was comparing them, as you heard, to the Oklahoma teams that won all those games, with Bud Wilkinson back in the day. And so what do you make of Troy Calhoun's comments? Was he just being nice, or and by the way, I think there was a golly in there, as Collin pointed out at the beginning of that clip. Maybe we could listen again. We'll have to maybe splice this up with golly guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look golly, I mean, the quarterback is
there it was. Golly, we did get a golly here from Troy Calhoun. So again, a live look inside Falcon Stadium. Thank you to Idaho Central Credit Union. They sponsor our road trip coverage and help get me and Collin Mitchell to all these games. Bronco Nation News, in terms of the local print outlets, outlets, the only outlet here that has 2 reporters on site at this game with Collin Mitchell and myself. So we're putting in the investment to bring you this show, bring you this stuff, and it wouldn't be possible without Idaho Central Credit Union. So we appreciate them. ICCU.com, they got almost over 500,000, so 500,000 with my bad math. People have made the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union. You can too. Their e-branch, their online banking, it's so easy. Just check them out at Idaho Central Credit Union. I mentioned Lithia Ford as well, the Lithia Ford of Boise, title sponsor of our pre- and post-game show. So if you're looking to buy a car, it's perfect to go there. But if you're looking to sell your car, they'll go make you a cash offer on the spot, and they'll buy your used vehicle, even if you don't want to buy a car from them. So go check them out there on Fairview, Lithia Ford of Boise. And just a beautiful day. The teams are on the field warming up. The Wi-Fi signal was not great down on the field, so I apologize. We do not have Collin Mitchell on the field with footage today. The signal, some places, the signal is just not as good as other places, so we were unable to get any close-ups for the warm-ups, but you can see Boise State with the black pants over on the right side of the screen there going through some warm-ups. You got Air Force going with blue pants, and we'll see what the rest of their uniforms end up looking like on the left side of the field. It's not going to be a sellout today, by the way. I was looking at some tickets online, and it's not going to be close to a sellout, actually. There's going to be full sections in the upper deck that really don't have anybody sitting in them at all. A lot of empty seats behind the Boise State bench as well. So not sure the reason for that. I mean, it's literally about as perfect as a day for football as you can get. 70 degrees outside, very light wind. It is just a perfect day for football here. And you got two really good teams. I mean, Air Force is 5-2. You got Boise State at 4-2. There's a lot riding on this game, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a packed house. So maybe that helps Boise State a little bit if they're not having to deal with the a packed house, kind of from that standpoint. Asking how the Springs are treating you. The weather's phenomenal today. We had a lot of fun, actually. Collin and a couple of us media members went out to the Air Force hockey game last night. I really enjoyed that. We went out and saw the Air Force hockey game. Who they play? RIT, a school from the East Coast in Rochester, and it was a fun game, 4-2 final. RIT got the win, but had a lot of fun watching some college hockey last night. Padres are on at the same time. A lot of people be watching then. I guess maybe is there a huge Padres contingent in Colorado Springs? I don't think that's probably the answer. Chad saying, I don't think we've had a single orange jersey yet this year, right? Well, I think that will change next week. Next week is the orange out game, I believe, for Colorado State. So I would suspect you're probably going to see an orange out for Boise State as well, and probably the orange jerseys next week against Colorado State. Josh says the packed house theory didn't help at Oregon State. It was packed on the three sides that were packed. I mean, it was every seat they could have sold, they did. So it was pretty loud still. BYU no longer going to be a shocking win if it happens. Their season is in the tank. Looks like Boise State can win out. Yeah, I mean, you think about that from a couple different ways because you would like to have BYU, have that win look really impressive. So you'd like BYU to win and maybe be ranked or be a little more impressive. when you beat them. But yeah, if you have a chance to beat them regardless, you'll take that, the final win in the series here in a couple weeks, or final game in the series. And we were joking about it with Rich Waltz, but I mean, if this team's 11-2 and has won 9 games in a row and wins the Mountain West, I mean, they might actually be in the mix for a spot in the Cotton Bowl, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, it sounds almost ludicrous to think about, but if they win out, and today's a big game towards making that happen, I think they have a shot. Today is, I think, their toughest game remaining. I mean, the BYU game is at home, so I'm going to give them a little bit of credit for that. I think this might be their toughest game remaining on the schedule. On the road at Air Force, where they've had some trouble here. They're only 2-2 in this at the Academy. Their last 4 trips, they're 4-4 overall against Air Force in the last 8 meetings. So Air Force has given them a little bit of problems at times. And so I think that this is a huge game for Boise State and a huge game for a lot of reasons in terms of the group of 5. And you win this game, now all of a sudden you got Colorado State. You could be sitting at 6-2 for the BYU game. That's going to be an electric crowd, probably a record crowd. And then after that, you have Wyoming and Reno, and there's some winnable games left on the schedule, a lot of winnable games, to be honest. So this is a big game today, and as Kay Foster says, let's just win today, 1 week at a time. And I agree, you got to win today. Obviously, it's a big one today to see what happens, but that's what Vegas thinks. Let's see, New Year's 6 to save Andy's career. I think he's certainly saved his career already. I don't think he would have gotten fired regardless, but I certainly think now at 4-2, and they're obviously going to get to a bowl game, you're not firing Andy Avalos this year, regardless of really what happens. Bill says lots of defense. Boise State wins it 17-16 is what Bill is saying. Chase says Cincy, UCF, Tulane all need to lose in order for BSU to get into the Cotton Bowl. But yeah, I mean, you got half the season left, and you need 3 teams to lose. That's not exactly all that hard to fathom. And you're going to have the championship game where Cincy and UCF, are they in the same division? I'm not sure if they would play each other or not, but you would have a situation where only one American Conference team will even be eligible, because you have to be a champion of your conference to be eligible. So that is a long way to go. Chase says next week all orange. They're calling about the same thing, the orange logo. Dayton says pretty cool. They house the basketball arena, the ice hockey in the same building. Yeah, that was a lot of fun last night. And it was pretty cool. We got to see in the basketball arena as well. We got OK Bro Chill saying waiting for the black helmet with orange face mask. Maybe that'll be the orange out, is with the black face mask. We'll have to see. They did that at some point. Actually, I think it was at Air Force Halloween game a couple years ago when they played here and wore, I want to say, black face masks with the orange decal and the orange face mask with the black helmet. So we'll have to see what happens there. But there's a long ways to go. It's one game at a time. It's win today and then see what happens next week. And what does Boise State need to do to win today? There's a lot going on. And for me, by the way, we're starting an ICCU player of the game. So after the game, we're going to have an ICCU player of the game for the rest of the basketball season here. We appreciate ICCU for their continued support and making this possible, as I said, to travel on the road. So we'll want to get your after the game on the post-game show, let us know who you guys think should be the Lithia or the ICCU player of the game on the Lithia 4 to Boise post-game show. But if we had to kind of go like in a pregame pick, if I had to pick who I think's important or a key to this game, I think defensively I'm going Zeke Noah. I think Zeke Noah coming off a big game last week, and I wrote about this at BroncoNationNews.com if you want to go check it out. Zeke Noah, for me, is a massive, player in this game because he's playing much better. He's having the best year of his career. And, for me, I think Zeke Noah is when they're with this triple option, he's going to have to make a lot of one-on-one tackles. You're going to need Zeke Noah to really get in a situation where he's able to have one of the best games of his career. And you'd feel a lot better about this team if Zeke Noah does have a great game. I mean, he's having a great year. He's third on the team, 27 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, leads the team with 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, tied for the team lead with an interception. Last week did something that hadn't been done in like 8 years, where he had the sack, the interception, the forced fumble, 5 tackles in the same game. And in his 4 previous games against Air Force, Zeke Noah has 24 tackles in his last 4 games against Air Force. He had 10 tackles against them in 2019 before he left in the middle of the game with an injury. So I think for me, defensively, I think Zeke Noah and DJ Schramm need to have huge games, because if you're, you need to wrap up and you need to keep them at, 3, 4, 5 yards on some of these runs. If they're breaking tackles and getting 7, 8, 9, 10-yard runs, it could be a long day for Boise State. So for me, Zeke Noah in particular, DJ Schramm, those two guys need to be in the backfield, need to be creating havoc, and need to be disrupting this Air Force offense. When Air Force struggles, they're in like 3rd and 7 and 3rd and long. So on first down, you can't let them get 5 yards. I mean, you got to get them behind the chains. So on 1st and 2nd down, you really need to do a good job so it's not 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. You need to get them in 3rd and 5 plus, so they have a longer way to run the ball, or so they even have to attempt to pass the ball more. So that's going to be a big key for me, is Boise State's defense, and also with that is going to be the cornerbacks not falling for the pass. It happens every time you play Air Force. It's kind of a cliche thing, but they're going to run the ball 15 straight plays, and then they're going to bite and try to throw one over the top and try to get that corner sleeping. So the DBs cannot get beat by the pass. I know it's really hard. I know it's easier said than done, but they're going to have to figure out a way to not let them get beat by the pass, because a lot of times, and it's happened against Boise State, both on the blue and on this field, a lot of the things that, in the past when Boise State has struggled and other teams have struggled against Air Force, it's given up those long passes and not being ready for that. So for me, defensively, the key is the linebackers making, not missing tackles, and the whole team really. You can't miss tackles in a game like this. You have to be able to wrap up, not let a 2-yard gain turn into 7 or 8. And then the corners cannot get beat on the pass. That is a big key for me. And on offense is some of the Boise State players. If you look in the far left corner of the end zone, you can see some of the Boise State players starting to make their way onto the field. They're wearing the white jerseys with the black pants and the black helmets. I kind of like the look, the Oreo cookie look, so to speak, there in the end zone. So we'll see as some more players kind of come out. But for me, defensively, let's check some more comments first. Go down to the new comments here. Noah's a beast for sure. Schramm is the man. Went to Vegas to watch the game with It's Keaton. Go Broncos. Hey, how about that? There you go, guys. That should be fun. Hopefully you're at Circa right now. Hopefully you're over at Circa Sports. The AAC doesn't have divisions, somebody said, Colin, so I guess those two could play, and only one would be eligible. Foster says, keep the running game going, no turnovers, and they got this. And, yeah, that if you look at my offensive keys to the game, that would probably be it, is taking care of the football. You cannot have Talon Green throwing an interception on his own 20 like he did against Fresno or San Diego or whoever it was a couple weeks ago. Talon Green has to hang on to the football, cannot have the bad interceptions deep in his own territory. You just cannot have it today. Turnovers against Air Force are killer, and so Boise State has to be able to take care of the ball and, you eat up some clock yourself, but keep moving the chains, and you got to score touchdowns. It's pretty simple. If Boise State is having to settle for a lot of field goals, it could be a long day. You got to score touchdowns. You got to score, period. And frankly, Air Force is not a team you want to fall behind against. So for me, getting a lead is imperative in this game, and especially not falling behind 2 scores. I mean, you fall behind 10 or 14 points, it's going to be almost impossible to come back and win this game. Air Force is built to play with the lead. So for me, I think you have to figure out a way to get a lead and try to hang on to it, and you got to hang on to the ball. I mean, hanging on to the ball is a huge thing in this game for Boise State. So Bronco Blameyer must be loving Liberty right now. That's Liberty against they're up getting smacked right now. I saw somebody say they were getting spanked. 34-14 was the last score that I saw there. Okay, Bro Chill says, DJ was my preseason favorite. He's leading the team in tackles right now. Yeah, he's playing very good. Dayton says, who has more rushing yards today? Not out of the realm of possibility. Boise State could outrush Air Force. Never thought I would say that. I wonder when it was a non-service academy a game, I wonder when the last time was somebody did outrush Air Force, when it was not, Navy or Army, because it probably hasn't happened a lot. And, yeah, that is crazy to think, Dayton, but Boise State's rushed for over 300 yards, 2 games in a row? Not only that, they've rushed for exactly 316 yards 2 games in a row, and that just doesn't happen very often. So, yeah, I think Boise State is going to, again, have to rely on the running game. We'll see if Talon Green gets back involved in the running game. He only had 22 yards, I think, on 11 carries in the last game. So I know that, he opens up things for Holani and Genti, who both, got over 100 yards. But you wonder if Green starts pulling it and running it a little more in this game. You probably would like to see more than 22 rushing yards out of Talon Green in this game. We got Kevin and some folks think Boise will have more rushing yards. The Air Force, as you know, the number one rushing team in the nation, 360 yards for Air Force on the ground per game. They got a running back who is number 4 nationally, Brad Roberts, in rushing. So Brad Roberts is certainly going to be a tough one for Boise State to try to slow down. But Air Force, no surprise, right there. Right there at, leading the country. Bob says, how was the Navigator? Smooth like Talon Green. Go Broncos. Bob Berry, always love Bob. Great golfer, by the way. One of the best golfers in the Treasure Valley, Bob Berry. So make sure if you ever get a chance to play with him out at Hillcrest, or if you're lucky enough to get on the course with Bob, you'll get some tutelage on the game of golf. He's a heck of a golfer, heck of a supporter for BSU, and you'll see him down there courtside, sitting down there near Matt Bauscher and stuff. And it was not a Navigator. It was a Ford Expedition, I believe, was the vehicle that Avis rental car hooked us up with. So maybe we need a Avis sponsorship or something. Maybe somebody can make that happen. But we're going to wrap this up here pretty soon. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. We got to get Collin his pregame food before the game starts. Myself as well. Anybody see that George Tarlas got a deal at the Village? Didn't see that, but good for George Tarlas. That's pretty cool. But we will be back on the post-game show. We want your comments. We want your thoughts. We want your player of the game, all that great stuff. We're going to be back here in our special booth about 30 minutes after the game. So we'll have the YouTube link. That's the easiest way to watch us. You can watch us on Facebook if you are, but I would recommend YouTube. So make sure you're subscribing and liking on YouTube. And we'll have Coach Andy Avalos' comments. We'll have some interviews with some players. We'll have highlights that Collin Mitchell is going to be down there on the field shooting himself. So when the game ends, it's only going to be about 8 o'clock or so. So perfect timing. So go grab yourself a Cutwater. Hopefully you're enjoying and celebrating a Boise State win. And then you can flip over on your smart TV, your Roku app, Apple TV, whatever, to your YouTube app on Roku or wherever, and watch us there on your big screen in your living room and have a drink, and we'll talk some football after the game. So come on back after the game for the post-game show. Full coverage on the website as well. I got a couple pregame stories if you want to go read those, BroncoNationNews.com. And as I said, we'll have highlights, interviews, analysis, all that great stuff coming up about 30 minutes after the game right here wherever you're watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the Lithia Ford of Boise post-game show. So thanks again, RowPaint.com, obviously our title sponsor. They do an amazing job. 10% off they'll give you right now if you give them a call and want the interior of your home painted this winter. Tell them you heard about it on Bronco Nation News. They're still doing those concrete coatings. They do great work there. So we appreciate Andy Rowe and his staff at RowPaint.com. And as I said, Idaho Central Credit Union helps fund the travel and things so we can get down here as well. So thanks to ICCU as well as Lithia Ford of Boise. All of our great sponsors. I mentioned the Blue and Orange store earlier, TCS, Boise Dentistry Co., United Commercial Insurance, Matt Bauscher, Timberstone Golf Course, all the great sponsors at Bronco Nation News. So thank you so much for checking us out. Appreciate it. Hope you'll subscribe if you're not already a paying subscriber to BroncoNationNews.com. We'd love to have you. $70 for a full year, and we'll throw in a gift card and some other free stuff. But we got some other cool giveaways and some things coming up, by the way. If you're a subscriber that's going to be renewing here for year 2 in a month or 2, we didn't forget about you as well. So we got some cool things we're working on. So enjoy the game. CBS Sports Network, top of the hour. Check my Twitter account. I'll have all the injury updates and things like that. Those should be coming out here pretty soon. In about 10 minutes, we'll find out the inactives, and we'll have you covered on social media. And then, as I said, we'll have you covered 30 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes after the game, back here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter with the Lithia Ford of Boise postgame show. So thanks for checking us out. One final look. Beautiful day, perfect day for football as the crowd starts filing in. For Collin Mitchell, who did a great job helping us out as well. We appreciate Rich Waltz for coming in live at the beginning of the show. If you came in late, you can go back and watch the beginning of the show. Watch Rich Waltz, the play-by-play guy, come in live and give his thoughts as well. And then we're going to see you after the game. My name is BJ Rains. We appreciate it. Bronco Nation News hopefully is becoming your number one source for Boise State news. We really appreciate you checking us out. Truly do appreciate each and every one of you that watches these videos and clicks the like button and all that great stuff. So enjoy the game. We'll talk to you afterwards. Hopefully a happy post-game show. This has been Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.